isn't the four ninjas? Who the hell is that?
Number 20. ManBearPig versus Satan. In a not-so-subtle allegory for climate change, the citizens learn that ManBearPig is real and that they should have gotten cereal a long time ago.
Yeah, sounds really hard, doesn't it? People might not believe you and make fun of you and stuff. Poor you guys, huh?
To combat this creature, Al Gore and the boys summon the only being who can stop it, Satan. This builds to a brawl between the two hulking red demons, calling the Hellboy movies to mind. One would assume that Satan has the upper hand here. He is the devil. Well, apparently ManBearPig has grown even stronger than the Prince of Darkness himself. Impaled by his own horn, Satan dies and goes to heaven. Yeah, we're not sure how that works or who's running hell now. In any case, seeing Satan with wings and a halo is surreally hilarious. Goodbye. Number 19. Mr. Hat versus Mr. Mackey. Offering therapy on the bus, Mr. Mackey points out that Mr. Garrison uses Mr. Hat as an outlet to confront his deep-seated issues.
So you switch personalities to Mr. Hat, okay?
Oh, good one, Sherlock. You figured that out all by yourself?
Mackey seemingly forgets this when Mr. Hat insults his credentials as a counselor.
You heard me, jackass. There's monkeys that make better counselors than you.
Yanking him off Garrison's hand, Mackey has a throwdown with Mr. Hat while the students cheer. We're not sure what's funnier, that the fight escalates so quickly or that Mackey loses to a puppet. This moment seems to lean towards the theory that Mr. Hat is alive and has a mind of his own. Of course, it's also possible that Mackey is simply a moron, just like the other adults of South Park. Whatever you think, you do not mess with Mr. Hat.
You may have won this time, Mr. Hat.
Number 18. Kenny versus Kyle's dad. In an homage to heavy metal, the South Park animators are given a chance to step out of their usual comfort zone with several fantasy sequences like this. Tripping on cat urine, a cheesed-out Kenny and Gerald fight for a large-breasted woman's affection.
There is another suitor.
The two go head-to-head in a gladiator coliseum that really should have been censored. The same can be said about their weapons, which include suggestive jousting lances, swords, and battle axes. The fact that Gerald is only wearing his underwear does not help. In reality, Kenny and Gerald are actually just having a scuffle in a sandbox as onlookers awkwardly watch.
Dad? Dad, what the hell are you doing?
They've been going at it for a good 30 minutes. She's mine, you little asshole!
No imaginary woman's worth this much trouble. So the next time you see a puddle of cat urine, just say no. Number 17. Lemmywinks versus WikiLeaks. Lemmywinks acts like a regular gerbil, and to a certain extent, he is. Nevertheless, Lemmywinks frequently finds himself wrapped up in extraordinary circumstances. When gossip is being shared online, the culprit is revealed to be Lemmywinks' brother, a rat named WikiLeaks.
The creature doing this, Lemmywinks, is your brother, WikiLeaks.
Did this episode steal a page from The Secret of Nim 2? It's up to the Gerbil King to stop the dastardly rat. What's built up as a battle for the ages comes down to a couple of rodents succumbing to their animal instincts. The epic build-up makes the low-key payoff all the more priceless. The Frog King's commentary also never fails to crack us up. Lemmywinks emerges victorious, and not even bass to mouth can save WikiLeaks. Lemmywinks doesn't appear very devastated, however.
How does it feel to have killed your own brother? Lemmywinks?
Number 16. PC Principal versus Cartman. Now more than ever, there seems to be a war ranging between PC culture and politically incorrect humor.
A white man who thinks he's Chinese and built a wall to keep out Mongolians.
Ooh, I hate the Mongolians.
South Park materializes this ongoing debate in a confrontation between PC Principal and Cartman. Never one to back down from a challenge, Cartman believes he can get rid of the strict principal by framing him. His threats don't faze PC Principal, who's more outraged that Cartman used words like capiche and spokesman.
You don't want to end up like the spokesman for Subway, do you?
Did you just use a term that excludes women from an occupation?
Okay, let's back up. Ah!
Cartman's microaggressions spark a major backlash, with PC Principal slamming him against the bathroom wall. This isn't so much a fight as it is a one-sided beating that ends with Cartman in the hospital. If people could throw real punches on social media, we imagine that most arguments would look like this. Number 15. Coon vs. Coon and Friends. In addition to superhero movies, the Coon trilogy parodies A Clockwork Orange in this jaw-dropping scene. Lining up for a group shot, Coon and Friends walk down the street in slow motion. At the drop of a hat, though, the Coon goes from marching like Superman to kicking Mosquito like Alex DeLarge.
A coon must know when to defend itself.
The others are every bit as shocked as the audience, with Mint Berry Crunch also getting caught in the crossfire. The attack seemingly comes out of nowhere. Of course, the same can be said about the violent scene that's being recreated. What's especially funny is the aftermath, with the team uncomfortably sitting around a dinner table, conflicted on what to do about their deranged leader.
Well, now we're back to normal. Just like before and all forgotten, right?
Right.
Kill.
At least Cartman didn't start reciting Singin' in the Rain. Number 14, Robert Smith versus Mecha-Streisand. Just because Trey Parker and Matt Stone make fun of a celebrity doesn't necessarily mean they hate them, unless that celebrity is Barbra Streisand. The South Park creators went out of their way to depict Streisand as a monster, even turning her into a mecha Godzilla-like kaiju. Parker in particular can't stand Streisand's voice, so it only makes sense that Streisand would be defeated by a singer who Parker does like, Robert Smith, who voices himself here. After taking down Leonard Maltin and Sidney Poitier, Streisand goes up against the Cure frontman, who takes on the form of a Mothra-like creature. Following a punch to the nose, Smith sends Streisand spiraling into space. Even Jesus praises Smith as humanity's savior, which is pretty high praise.
Goodbye, Robert Smith. Thank you for your help. Visit us again.
Number 13, Tweek versus Craig. Although Tweek and Craig don't really have anything against each other, their classmates convince them to fight.
So will you fight him? Ah! He doesn't look like he wants to fight me!
With Tweek taking up boxing and Craig learning sumo, the two finally square off in a schoolyard brawl.
Stop screwing around! Hey, you're screwing around too much!
Oh my god! They killed Kenny! You bastards!
The fight results in Kenny's death, while Tweek and Craig are sent to the hospital, where they duke it out some more. Even more amusing than the fight itself is the aftermath. This episode presumably led to the ship Creek, as well as a plethora of fan art. Over 15 years after this episode aired, the creators decided to canonize the ship. Tweek and Craig might have started off as bitter rivals, kind of, but now they're among South Park's cutest couples. It's funny how things work out that way. Number 12, Mickey Mouse versus the Jonas Brothers. Although Disney is often associated with family-friendly wholesomeness, occasionally we can't help but wonder if something more devious is happening behind the mouse ears. Having reservations about their purity rings, the Jonas Brothers are paid a visit from their boss, and we're not talking about Bob Iger.
Hello, sir. How was your trip?
What's all this I'm hearing about not wearing the purity rings, huh?
The name Mickey Mouse is never said out loud, perhaps to avoid a lawsuit, but it's clear who's being parodied here. When Joe stands up to Mickey about wearing purity rings, the mouse responds with a punch below the belt and a few kicks to the face. This foul-mouthed, unhinged portrayal is an uproarious contrast to how we usually perceive Mickey. It's gonna be very strange if Disney owns South Park one day.
Who is this? I don't know you. Are you from Pixar?
No, I'm from South Park.
What's South Park? Do I own that?
No, not yet, sir.
Number 11, Michelle Obama versus childhood obesity. In order to one-up Honey Boo Boo, Cartman challenges her to a wrestling match. With spaghetti, naturally.
You're going down, bitch! Nobody takes my ratings!
The trashy fight takes place at the First Lady Symposium on Obesity, where Cartman runs over his opponent several times with his mobility scooter. Once James Cameron raises the bar, however, everyone comes to their senses and realizes how tasteless this is. Michelle Obama thus makes it her mission to fight against childhood obesity, which is taken quite literally.
From now on, I'm going to dedicate this administration to fighting childhood obesity.
She starts punching Cartman in the face and destroys his scooter. Just when you thought Mrs. Obama couldn't get any cooler. Number 10, a fistful of theoretical dollars. The Spirit of Christmas, which provided the basis for South Park, was among the internet's first viral videos, long before YouTube was even a thing.
Behold my glory.
Holy shit, it's Jesus! What are you doing in South Park, Jesus?
So it's only fitting that South Park would bring together some of the most iconic internet stars for the ultimate battle. The boys cross paths with Chocolate Rain, Tron Guy, Star Wars Kid, Afro Ninja, the Leave Britney Alone Guy, Sneezing Panda, Numa Numa, and Dramatic Gopher, who's actually a dramatic chipmunk for the record. This bizarre collection of characters begin to debate who's the biggest sensation, and faster than you can say what in the butt, all hell breaks loose. Judging from the bloody outcome, Laughing Baby and Lonely Girl 15 are the only ones who may have survived. Number 9, Cartman vs. Kyle. Cartman and Kyle are always arguing, which sometimes leads to physical confrontations.
Get out of my way or I'll kick your ass!
Cartman continually threatened to beat up Kyle on a mission to Canada, only for him to start whining over one mild punch. Though punches were also thrown when Cartman purposely gave Kyle HIV, their rivalry was arguably more appropriately represented in their earlier fight over Family Guy. Although it looks like a heated battle is about to commence, we're suddenly reminded that Kyle and Cartman are just little boys. Thus, their fight mainly consists of slapping and timeouts.
Stop it! Quit it! Quit it! Good. Okay, time out!
Nevertheless, the face-off takes them through the King of the Hill building and across the studio lot. Cartman seemingly secures his victory with a cheap shot, but Kyle has another animated kid in his corner.
Thanks, kid.
Number 8. Russell Crowe versus the World. Parker and Stone befriended Russell Crowe while they were picking up awards for Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. That didn't stop them from making fun of his infamous temper, however. In a crocodile hunter-like show, Crowe travels the world picking fights for no good reason. When one fight gets cut short, Crowe takes out all of his rage on the editor.
I mean, who do you think you are cutting one of my fighting scenes short?
As extreme as this sounds, something similar reportedly occurred in real life when Crowe's poetry reading was cut from his BAFTA acceptance speech. Following the near death of his tugboat, Crowe decides to use his fighting gifts for something positive: fighting cancer. Unfortunately, he takes this too literally. Although he's portrayed as unbalanced and insecure, you may be surprised by Crowe's reaction to the episode.
I think that they are very, very funny men, and I wish them Godspeed, and I hope they continue to do what they're doing.
Number 7. Cartman versus Dr. David Nelson. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Words are like bullets, and I let them pass right through me. I just know that with some one-on-one time together with this Eric Cartman, I have a chance to change the way he thinks.
We all know that's not true, but a little person named Dr. Nelson remains resolute that Cartman's relentless ridicule cannot get to him. After multiple attempts to teach Cartman sensitivity, Nelson decides to teach him a lesson in the ring.
You better shut up or I'm gonna kick your ass!
Working on the episode, there was some debate among the writers over who should win the fight. It depends on how you look at it. Cartman clearly gets the best of Nelson, pinning him down and making him beg for mercy.
Say uncle!
Nelson gets in the final punch, though. This is good enough to satisfy Nelson, although Cartman still finds himself laughing uncontrollably at him. Point proven?
I have proven my point! My work here is done!
Number 6. Randy versus the Bat Dad. We're pretty sure they don't allow beer at Little League baseball games, but alcohol amounts to several brawls between Randy and rival dads.
I told you to shut up!
When the South Park Cows make it to the championship, Randy sees it as his big shot at a non-existent title. Although Randy is initially intimidated by his trash-talking opponent, the Bat Dad, he musters up the courage and the booze to duke it out.
Come on, South Park! These kids can't play! In fact, these kids are terrible!
Their big showdown is like the climax of Rocky, albeit with 2 drunken jackasses instead. The brawl cost South Park the game, but all that matters is that Randy went the distance, we guess.
Hey, Bat Dad. I didn't hear no bell.
Few things are funnier than seeing Randy in his underpants being carted off by the police, proclaiming,
I thought this was America!
Number 5. Wendy versus Cartman. Outside of Kyle, Wendy is the classmate who Cartman probably butts heads with the most. Wendy's pushed over the edge when Cartman makes fun of breast cancer, challenging him to a fight.
We fight after school, you got that?
You're gonna fight me after school.
That's right!
Although Cartman does everything he can to weasel out of it, the day of reckoning inevitably comes. In what plays out like a cross between 3 O'Clock High and Snatch, Wendy lets out all of her pent-up frustration. While Cartman gets his fair share of blows as well, Wendy ultimately leaves him in a pile of his own blood and tears. Given Cartman's especially obnoxious behavior throughout the episode, it's incredibly satisfying seeing Wendy come out on top. Her reference to Daniel Plainview is a nice touch as well.
I'm finished!
Number 4. Let's Fighting Love. When you're a kid, simply playing in the backyard can feel more epic than it actually is. This is cleverly personified in this episode, which mixes the traditional South Park style with anime action.
With my Tonfa of Takanawa, I become the great and powerful ninja Shadow Hachi. Born to fight evil and people I don't like.
Things get real, however, when Kenny throws a ninja Death Star at Butters' eye. Fearing that Butters will rat them out for playing with ninja weapons, the boys try taking him to the vet, only to be confronted by Craig, Token, Clyde, and Jimmy.
Aha! There you are! You guys thought you were so cool, didn't you? Well, look at what we got!
A ninja battle ensues, complete with a theme song that you probably won't entirely understand without subtitles.
Hey, hey, let's go, kinkatsuru. Taisetsu na mono, protect my balls. Boku ga warui, so let's fighting love.
As fast-paced as the action appears, it's really about as intense as watching a few kids playing Power Rangers. We especially love one passerby's blank reaction to the childish squabble. Number 3. Pwned. Like the aforementioned ninja battle, this fight provides an ingenious contrast between fantasy and reality, thanks in part to Blizzard Entertainment's cooperation.
Oh my god! He killed Kenny! You bastard!
In the World of Warcraft, the boys have become mighty warriors who are ready to take down the ultimate evil. Outside of the gaming realm, they've all let themselves go while their opponent has no life whatsoever.
How do you kill that which has no life?
As is the case with most great games, though, this fight gets us completely invested in what essentially boils down to 5 people sitting at their computers.
Quick, we need Ben Gang!
The battle even takes a hilariously tragic turn when Randy gives his life to deliver the Sword of a Thousand Truths. This gives them the edge needed to defeat the Griefer, which is as gratifying as boss battles get.
Looks like you're about to get pwned.
Number 2. Jimmy versus Timmy. As one of the show's most famous moments, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention this fight. Despite being friends now, Timmy and Jimmy got off on the wrong foot.
Timmy! Timmy! I'm living a lie! Timmy!
Their initial rivalry climaxes with a street scuffle, which somehow manages to be both tense and drawn out. The clash mirrors Roddy Piper and Keith David's fistfight in They Live almost beat for beat. Since making their debuts, the reception towards Timmy and Jimmy has been largely positive. This is because most episodes focus on their capabilities, and nowhere is that more apparent than here. Timmy and Jimmy prove that even if you have a disability, you can still kick ass. Perhaps that's why this scene stands out, aside from the fact that it's hysterical. Number 1. America versus Canada. When a franchise makes the leap from television to feature film, the stakes need to be raised. Bigger, Longer, and Uncut does exactly that, with an all-out war breaking out between America and Canada. Caught in the middle are the boys in a fight for free speech. While it doesn't skimp on the laughs, the battle is also surprisingly dramatic at times. Whereas most of the other fights on this list were relatively low risk, the whole world is put on the line here when Satan rises. And to think, all of them stemmed from a few kids saying bad words. Profanity saves the day, though, as Cartman unleashes an electrifying tirade. His filthy mouth brings down Saddam Hussein, with a reformed Satan delivering the final blow.
I have had enough of you!
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.